Hello there guys, it's Stephen here, back with another Loan Watch video after the NEC Brader bunch. It sounds like a sitcom, doesn't it? After that one where we looked at Horsfield, Garcia, Smith-Brown, Barker and the rest of them, I decided to look at a few more players. You can see by the names scrolling across the bottom. So we've got a whole bunch of other loanees and seeing how they developed out on loan this year, what the plans are for the future of them, and all that kind of stuff really, because it's a little bit quiet on the transfer front, no new news. So I thought, why do a transfer target repeating what I've said in other videos when I could just do the second part of this Loan Watch series? And if you haven't already watched the first part, feel free to go and watch it. It's here on the screen now after you've watched this one, of course. And also for anyone who's new, don't forget to hit that little kind of bell button next to the subscribe thing. You can see it here once again. That means basically you get a notification immediately when there's any transfer news updates or even anyone signs for the club. So hit that button there, otherwise you don't really get told about all the videos. YouTube does that to you sometimes. No, it's not on YouTube. But anyway, let's get into the actual Loan Watch part 1. Part 2, even. And I'm going to start with FC20, because we sent 3 players on loan there this season. NSNL, and I quickly gloss over him. He was excellent, as we all know, but he's no longer a Manchester City player because his loan was so good. City saw an opportunity, sold him to Villarreal, which we all know by now anyway. And obviously he's gone there for buyback clause, but he was fantastic for them. One of the most outstanding players in the Eredivisie this season, scored a load of goals. And good luck, Enos, over in Villarreal. Hopefully you'll score a few more in the league. I'm sure I won't be the only one keeping a close eye on his progress there, and hopefully if he does well enough, we'll buy him back one day for his buyback fee. But anyway, on to the actual players. You're still Man City players. I'm going to start with Bersant Celina, the young, gifted attacking midfielder, stroke winger, stroke number 10, stroke whatever he wants to be up front. He's a very good player, Bersant, a very likeable player, and this was his first full season as a regular starter somewhere. And in general, he did pretty well. He seemed to be a regular starter. I think he started 26 games out of 26 that he was available for. And in general, was one of their better players. He created plenty of goals, scored a few goals as well, and in general settled into life over the Eredivisie pretty well. He's obviously a very intelligent technical player. It wasn't Twente's best season. They finished 7th, but a large part of their mid to higher table success in terms of what it could be was built around that attacking freezing the City sent them on loan. And Bersant shown that he does have plenty of ability. In my opinion, Bersant's the kind of player that may take a while to get to the top, but I can see him back in the Premier League for maybe even a club like Liverpool, like Georgie Wijnaldum did, when he's around. I know Liverpool fans are going to be offended by that, but I mean as a compliment. But by the time he's around, mid-20s, 24, 25, something like that, he's now looking at a loan move to the Championship, which will be interesting for him because he's a creative, technical player, and creative, technical players can get a hard time in a physical, demanding league. It's Bolton, Ipswich, and Leeds all linked to him. I personally would probably favour Bolton or Ipswich. Leeds, it's just too random to me, too unstable. The managers change every bloody week, it seems, and I just can't see him having the reassurances he needs from one manager that would actually last. What's to say they won't change the manager in 3 months and he then spends 6 months sat on the bench? For me, he needs to go somewhere he's going to play regularly. I'm nervous about a Championship loan, but it will physically test him at very least. And if he has a great season there, who knows? Then maybe we can either do an hour more and sell him on for a nice little profit, or maybe he can come challenge the season after that. But that's where I think his future lies, on loan in the Championship next season. Another one of our Right to Dream graduates, Yeboah, who was on loan at Lille last season, only as a reserve player. He went on loan there as well and mainly played as a right winger, cutting in from the right side, and he looked pretty good as well. A little diminutive, nippy attacker, scored a couple of goals, started about 20 games. It wasn't always the first choice, more rotated than Anal and Celina were, but he was a generally useful player for them. Do I think he's got a future at Manchester City? Not really, if I'm being honest. I think he's another player who's got a good future ahead of him. He can carve out a good, solid career, someone like the Eredivisie, and maybe he will excel as he gets a little bit older. Maybe he'll be a late bloomer. But for now, as fun as he can be and as sprightly as he is, I'm not sure he's got the intelligence or the raw potential to get past the likes of Sane, Gabriel Jesus, Sterling, all that lot, Bernardo Silva. It takes a lot to be a Manchester City squad player, and there's some players, in my opinion, that are even better than that we've got on loan out that probably won't get a shot at the first team either. So Yeboah, good little player, but his long-term future, I can see him going alone again next season for eventually maybe sold in a year or two from now. Away from the Eredivisie and a lot closer to home, Bury, in fact, Kean Bryan, the ex-EDS captain, a very likeable either centre-back or holding midfielder. He went on loan to Bury this season, and it was a very mixed season for him. He started off life quite well in general, started a couple of games, and the Bury fans online that I read around, because obviously I've not seen all the Bury games, seemed to be impressed with him. They were impressed with his physicality and his tenaciousness, and obviously he can pick a pass out too, given the fact that he's from City's academy. I like Kean, but it didn't go perfectly swimmingly for him. He had a couple of injuries. He had a suspension as well with a rash challenge, which is typically him, to be honest. He does know how to do that, but you know, you need a tough bastard sometimes in your team. But yeah, he only ended up having 6 starts and 6 substitute appearances. Not the most ideal start to professional life for him, but it's a start. You know, they all start somewhere. Harry Kane had several in different loan spells before eventually he got his chance at Spurs and made a name for himself. And Kean, maybe next season he'll get a full season of football somewhere and hopefully keep showing how good a footballer he could potentially be. He's a big lad, Kean. He's also very good on the ball. And one that I think is worth hanging around for now. I think he'll be on loan again next season, but he's definitely, even though it was a mixed season, done himself no harm about getting another loan next year where he can maybe play a full season as a regular centre-back or holding midfield for someone and prove how good he can actually potentially be for at least a Championship club. At least I can see him back in the Premier League one day. I really can. It just may take him a little bit of time to get there. And this is the bit where we go through the promising attacking prospects. I'm going to start with Patrick Roberts. Now, what more does need to be said about Patrick Roberts? He was fantastic for Celtic, one of the most gifted players that they've ever seen at their club, according to their fan base. I know a lot of Celtic fans watch these videos and they love him. They actually love wee Paddy, as they say. They love him north of the border, and rightfully so. He's an exceptionally gifted, creative, majestic right winger, and he scored plenty of goals, made plenty of goals, in general dazzled paradise, as they call it up there. And I think his reputation has rocketed, and rightfully so. He's a better player than he was when he first went on loan to Celtic 18 months ago. He's grown and matured as a person, still only 20 years old, and in 18 months there he's won a few trophies, been part of the unbeaten season as well, and Celtic want him now on a permanent deal. I can't see that happening. Apparently City have already turned around and said it's well below what they want for him. Porto are allegedly sniffing around him as well. If Porto want a player, a young player, you probably think you should probably keep him, because they've got this incredible habit of turning these rough diamonds into superstars for eventually 40-50 million. There's also rumours as well that Huddersfield want him on loan. David Wagner, their manager, he's a good manager, plays good, decent attacking football. I would like that. I would love to see him have a season in the Premier League to show how good he could be and maybe further his development. If he adapted to life at Huddersfield and became one of their main attacking outlets, that would see his reputation and his value to City improve exponentially. But for now, if we sell him for anything less than 10 million, I'd be absolutely gutted, given the fact that he's improved, in my opinion, and we signed him for that in the first place. I would love to see him as a squad player, rotated around the first team, but I just can't see it happening. I've grown resigned to the fact that he isn't going to be a regular, and I think he wants first team football. He has his head switched on, and he knows that for now, sitting on the bench and playing 5 games, maybe at max, could be more than that, of course, but realistically, it could be a lot less. Wouldn't be very good for his development. So he wants to continue this upward trajectory, and so be it. If that happens, so be it. Patrick Roberts is a fantastic young footballer, but he definitely needs another step now. A loan to Nice has been muted as well over in the League One. I can't really see that happening personally, but whatever happens, we need to make sure we challenge him and keep some semblance of being able to have him back, be it by a buyback clause or a loan. And finally on to Marlos Moreno at Deportivo, and it's been a mixed loan spell for him over in La Liga, if I'm being totally honest. He had 9 starts, but it didn't quite work out for him. No one doubted his determination or his work ethic, but it hasn't happened. His touch or his final passes let him down at times. And I saw a couple of games and he looked very erratic, trying too hard to impress. He obviously is a better player than that. He's obviously a very highly sought after young prospect, but it hasn't quite adapted to him yet. He had a couple of little injuries, and he hasn't had the best time there. I think a lot of people said, well, maybe they're not playing him because he's on loan, which wouldn't really add up given the fact that they played a bunch of loanies up front this season. So I don't think there's any institutional bias there. It's just not quite worked out. What the future holds out for him, I don't really know, but I've got a feeling that City might already be willing to let him go if he can find a decent buyer. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Fingers crossed he gets another year in Europe to at least prove what he can do after 12 months of settling, because he obviously is a very talented young player. You don't be that promising and fall that quickly if you haven't got ability somewhere. Fingers crossed he'll get it back, but for now it hasn't been a good year for Marlos, but fingers crossed next season can be a lot more productive for him. Anyway guys, that's the end of this second part of the Loan Watch. Thank you for everyone who's watched it. Go and check out episode 1 and let me know who you want me to cover in the transfer target tomorrow, because it's been a little bit quiet, but there will be some news back. And don't forget, hit the bell button thing so you get or hit subscribe if you haven't already, but so you get notifications when a new video goes live. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in the transfer target. As I've just said, hit the like button and I will see you next time.